my name is Mara. I am the Workshops and Education Coordinator for NYC Parks Green Thumb, and today we are going to plant some microgreens, which is something you can do at home with supplies around the house, food in the pantry, and just a windowsill. You don't even need outdoor space. So microgreens are lovely. They are somewhere between sprouts and baby greens. They are usually grown until they have a true leaf or two, or you can eat them with just the cotyledons. What you're seeing here is a mix of mustard greens and kale that I started about 2 weeks ago. In order to grow microgreens, you'll need a container. You can use takeout containers, plastic ones are fine, foil ones are fine, whatever you have. You will need potting soil. Any potting soil will do. You'll need water, spray bottle or a small watering can, and you'll need seeds. So to begin, a lot of potting soil that you buy in a store comes very dry, and so you'll need to make sure that it's nice and moist before getting started. So I'm gonna add this here. You want it to be damp, like a wrung out sponge. It shouldn't be super wet, but it should also be, there shouldn't be any dry clumps too, so make sure you mix it well. After the mixing of potting soil, make sure you wash your hands. You don't want to be touching seeds with wet hands. Then you'll need to prep your container. So for plastic containers like this, it just means poking some holes in the bottom for drainage. You can use the lid as a catchment tray so that you avoid underwatering and you avoid overwatering by having these little drainage holes. Once you've done that, you can fill up the tray only about an inch. You don't actually need that much soil to do microgreens. So I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to wash my hands again. So I'm filling up the tray, and then I'm not compressing the soil at all. We want it to stay light and fluffy as possible. I'm just smoothing it out so that it's as flat and even as I can get it. No valleys, no hills. The seeds will want a nice even space to germinate on. And I'm going to be doing 2 demonstrations, so the other one. All right, let's talk about seeds. You can use regular seeds from seed packets. This is a packet of cilantro seeds from True Love. It's a especially good project if you have old seed packets that you're not sure about their viability. You can throw them in and grow some microgreens with those. You can also use pantry staples like lentils. These are black beluga lentils. If you're using lentils, make sure that they are whole and not split. A lot of lentils come split, like red lentils are usually split. Some are split forms of peas and stuff like that. So make sure they are whole. You could use black lentils, you could use green lentils. You could also use other pantry staples like quinoa. You have amaranth in your pantry too, that works as well. My colleague Claudia Ordanivia, also one of the workshop and education coordinators at Green Thumb, is a scholar of quinoa and says that quinoa's history in the Andean region dates back approximately 5,000 years ago, when it was first domesticated by pre-Incan cultures throughout the Andean region of Peru, modern day Peru, Bolivia, Ecuador, Colombia, Chile, and Argentina. It's super nutritious. If you ever want to know more about quinoa, definitely reach out to us. There are also commercially available microgreen seeds, and you can get those as well. So I'm going to demonstrate using small seeds and large seeds. The trick with microgreens is also that they take different amounts of time to sprout. So you want to make sure that each of your trays is all along the same lines in terms of their germination rate. So to plant them, I'm going to do 1 tray of kale and mustards and 1 tray of quinoa and lentils. Okay, I'm starting with a decent handful of seeds. and I'm going to use my hands to sprinkle them pretty generously throughout the tray. Planting microgreens goes against a lot of the protocol for planting seeds in a garden, where usually you want to give plants ample space to grow, because these are going to be harvested when they're relatively young, and because you want them to push each other up. You want them to compete, you want them to grow taller and get leggy, so that they're easier to harvest. So this is a different process than growing greens outside. I just did half of the tray with one kind of seed, and now I'm gonna do the other half of the tray with the other. I'm trying to avoid putting my hands inside the seed packet because my hands have moisture, and once moisture hits seeds, they start to germinate. So we want to encourage that for the ones who we want to germinate, and we want to protect the other seeds as much as we can. So they're planted pretty close together, and evenly throughout the whole middle, all of the edges, all of the corners. You want to use up as much of the space as you can. And they're actually going to sit on top of the soil just like this. I'm going to come in with my spray bottle and just moisten the tops of the seeds. For the other tray, we are doing half lentils, half quinoa. Same thing. Microgreens are very versatile in terms of their light requirements. I've grown these under a desk lamp. I've grown them in a windowsill. If you have a countertop next to a very sunny south-facing window, that'll probably be fine too. The nice thing about microgreens is you actually do want them to grow tall and get leggy and reach for the sun, because they'll be easier to harvest later. If you have a grow light or any kind of very good light supply, you'll probably be able to grow them a bit bigger. If you are limited in your light supply, you'll probably want to harvest them earlier before they get too leggy. Enjoy!